Hi. Today I'm going to talk about using narrative to defend a claim. Telling stories, true or fictional, is a powerful way to defend a claim. The most effective will be Roger level rather than summaries. That means they'll have a beginning, middle, and end, and they'll be about a specific character or characters acting in a specific time and place. Stories are effective because they are personal. They engage the reader emotionally, creating sympathy where formerly there was indifference or hostility. The difference between summarized narratives and Roger level is illustrated by Carl Honoré in Praise of Slowness, when he is describing the signs of our obsession with speed.
The anecdotal evidence is everywhere. In Los Angeles, a man starts a fight at a supermarket checkout because the customer ahead of him is taking too long to pack his groceries. A woman scratches the paintwork of a car that beats her to a parking spot in London. A company executive tears into a flight attendant when his plane is forced to spend an extra 20 minutes circling Heathrow Airport before landing. "I want to land now," he shouts, like a spoiled child. "Now, now, now!" A delivery van stops outside my neighbor's house, forcing the traffic behind to wait while the driver unloads a small table. Within a minute, the 40-something businesswoman in the first car begins thrashing about in her seat, flailing her arms and snapping her head back and forth. A low guttural wail escapes from her open window. It is like a scene from The Exorcist. I decide she must be having an epileptic fit and run downstairs to help. But when I reach the sidewalk, it turns out she is simply annoyed at being held up. She leans out the window and screams at no one in particular. "If you don't move that fucking van, I'll fucking kill you." The delivery man shrugs as he has seen it all before, slides behind the wheel and drives off. I open my mouth to tell the screaming woman to lighten up a bit, but my words are drowned out by the sound of her tires skidding on the asphalt. This is where our obsession with going fast and saving time leads to road rage, air rage, relationship rage, office rage, vacation rage, gym rage. Thanks to speed, we live in an age of rage.
Notice a few things. To begin with, the first paragraph refers to actions by real people, but none of the sentences tells an actual story. There is no beginning, not always a middle, but always an end, the deranged action of someone frustrated at not being catered to by the world. This is intended to defend Honoré's overall claim that he is describing a transnational phenomenon, not just something isolated to a few people or a few countries. Secondly, the middle paragraph tells a Roger level story of the author's observation of an incident outside his home. There's a beginning, the traffic stoppage while a van halts to deliver a small table. There's a middle, the antics of the female driver just behind the delivery van. The ending is our author's words eclipsed by the sound of tires screeching as the woman leaves the scene. Finally, the story has a point as an illustration, in this case, of what Honoré has been writing about in the previous 11 pages. This is the role of the last paragraph, which explains the significance of the story Honoré has just told us. We call that exposition. When Honoré suggests that our systemic lack of patience is causing psychological and social problems, his story allows us to nod in agreement. Even if we haven't experienced such a scene ourselves, even if we're not like that, we no doubt have heard similar stories. We end by nodding our heads. Yep, that's true. Honoré has us where he wants us. Anecdotes like this are useful, but don't feel you need to limit yourself to true stories. The former slave, Aesop, who lived approximately 2,600 years ago in ancient Greece, sold his stories to people who needed help preparing speeches to the assembly or court in their particular city-state. The original stories came without the morals that were tacked on later. It was up to the client to provide an appropriate explanation that helped his case. A story attributed to him is one most of you know, The Tortoise and the Hare. It has a theme that echoes that of Carl Honoré. A hare was making fun of the tortoise one day for being so slow. "Do you get anywhere?" he asked with a mocking laugh. "Yes," replied the tortoise, "and I get there sooner than you think. I'll run you a race and prove it." The hare was so much amused at the idea of running a race with the tortoise, but for the fun of the thing he agreed. So the fox, who had consented to act as judge, marked the distance and started the runners off. The hare was soon far out of sight, and to make the tortoise feel very deeply how ridiculous it was for him to try to race with a hare, he lay down beside the course to take a nap until the tortoise should catch up. The tortoise, meanwhile, kept going slowly but steadily, and after a time passed the place where the hare was sleeping. But the hare slept on very peacefully, and when at last he did wake up, the tortoise was near the goal. The hare now ran his fastest, but he could not overtake the tortoise in time. The official moral is the race is not always to the swift, but I can think of other morals in the story that can be warranted. Cockiness leads to defeat. Perseverance is more important than speed. You will reach your goals best by going at your own pace. Mocking others creates bad karma. I'm sure you could come up with others on your own. In case you think that fables or other fictional stories are out of bounds in serious writing, below is a partial list of authors who, in recent decades, have used fiction as evidence for their claims. Stories encourage identification of the reader with your argument. Take advantage of that. Just make sure the story, whether true or fictional, warrants the claim you make. You'll need also to explain the significance of the story to the claim you are making in a paragraph or at least some sentences of exposition. That's it for this edition. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel below. You can find workbooks to practice your writing skills at Amazon and my blog through the links that follow. Thanks for listening.